Hi from Toronto. My name is John Kyo, and welcome to the Future of Food 10 by 10 Expert Series. And in episode number 2, I'm delighted to have with me Gabriela Centeno from Dublin in Ireland. Hello, Gabriela.
Hi, John. I'm delighted to be here with you today.
Gabriela, the 10 minutes goes very, very quickly. So, in the first minute or so, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and if you have an elevator pitch for the services you offer?
Well, John, in my case, there is no elevator pitch. It's been 20 years of hard work. I studied sustainability and have a master in international agribusiness. I have done research on sustainable markets. And since 2008, I have been working with hundreds of producers and companies, mainly in Latin America and Europe, in the areas of international trade, compliance, sustainability, and certifications, such as fair trade and QS, which is the German scheme for food safety. So I have lived in 5 countries and I have seen a lot, from wild meat production in the Amazon to robotized warehouses in Spain. And now I'm using this knowledge to help companies transform sustainability challenges into business opportunities.
Wonderful. And Gabriela, to mine into that, you've 20 years of experience, lived in 5 countries, and worked with hundreds of companies. So, what do you see as the key challenges that the food industry has today?
Well, the whole world is actually facing continuous social, environmental, economic, and technological disruptions at the moment. I would say some of the key challenges include the political uncertainty and weakened economies, high levels of unemployment and recession in many countries, and all this is taking a toll on the markets. Supply chains disruptions due to the different approaches taken by the different governments due to the pandemic. Significant changes in consumer demand patterns, such as the desire for more transparency, healthier diets, less eating out, more time for cooking at home. And finally, the fact that some actors in the society perceive the food sector as one of the big environmental sinners. But I deal with these situations having a solution-driven approach. And keep in mind that the food industry and businesses are two of the main catalysts of change. So many of these challenges actually represent opportunities.
That's very interesting, and a nice segue into my next question was, what are those key opportunities that you see in the food industry worldwide?
Well, we are witnessing a shift in the corporate and social paradigms regarding the sustainability. It has now been proved that companies with a sustainability strategy are outperforming the conventional business model, and this is a great opportunity for many SMEs. If we go back to the very basic concept of sustainability, which is actually 400 years old, it means the ability to exist constantly. The current definition that is being used implies a balance between the social, economic, and environmental dimensions of a business, which is also known as people, profit, and planet. So sustainability is not only green. Now, if you take a look to the UN Sustainability Development Goals, the European discussion on the farm to fork strategy, and the steps that are being taken by many multinationals, of course, it's natural that many SMEs feel overwhelmed and they see the sustainability as a threat. But I'm here to change that. And I'm here to make the case that sustainability has come to help them to survive.
Wonderful.
So how do you approach sustainability? Well, you have many tools. For example, you can build social and environmental elements into your business. Tackling social issues helps to boost productivity, reduce staff turnover, and increase talent retention. You can also develop a business continuity plan. You can reduce costs. Some companies are substituting or even eliminating packaging. Others are adopting energy efficient technologies. You can create synergies with the QM and health and safety departments. And all of these are tools that actually add value to the company or to the product.
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Gabriela. And I want to go back to the challenges that companies have as well. And with new regulation that's coming into play, that new regulation can cause increased cost for companies. How do you think companies are approaching that?
Well, if you take, for example, the farm to fork strategy of the European Union, it aims for a fair, healthy, and environmentally friendly food system. But that will imply a revision of the current legislation on pesticides and labeling. And that's going to generate higher costs for the food sector in the short term. However, I think it is an opportunity in the long term.
And just on that, if I can mine in another little piece on that question, do you think then that the food industry are going to just absorb those additional costs, or will they pass those costs on to consumers? Will consumers be paying more for food products as a result of sustainability focused legislation?
It will depend on the approach that you take. If you get to avoid the pesticide, that could be a cost reduction. But if you have to avoid monoculture and plant, for example, different kinds of plants within the same land, well, somebody's going to take this cost, and I don't think the producers are now in the position to absorb more of the costs that are taken. So this is threatening small producers.
Gotcha. Now, Gabriela, on the opportunities, you talked about the famous 3P model, people, planet before profit. Is that a tough discussion to have if you're, let's say, on your first day with a new client? How do you explain the importance of that triple P model? Because most businesses, let's face it, they're in business to make profit. How do you get them to focus on people and planet before profit? Or is that the goal?
Well, most of the companies are in profits in the short term. But if you want to guarantee the survival of the company in the long term, you have to take a sustainable approach. Look at BP the other day. It's a company that has existed for 110 years, and now they are also taking a sustainable approach in order to survive in the long term. I always use the example of a giant in the coffee industry who discovered that the coffee producers are not happy with their current living standards. So they are taking steps to address that. Otherwise, they won't have coffee to sell in 10 years. This is the kind of motivation that I use with new clients. And I think they are able to understand that we are talking here about something bigger than profits.
So in that case, if I can mine into that point again, do you think that certain segments will not exist if they don't look after the long-term sustainability of their business, like coffee, cacao, and so on?
In terms of the consumers are every time more aware about these realities. And the consumers are voting with their dollars. I don't know if you have heard that expression. So the market is going to assure that companies that don't take a sustainable approach won't be able to survive in the long term.
So your first meeting with a new client, what is that like? What is the key focus for you? In other words, in your first hour, what do you really want to discover with that client before you bring them on that sustainability journey?
Well, I try to make clear that taking a sustainability approach, a sustainability strategy at the moment is not a choice. You have to do it if you want to guarantee the survival of the company in the long term. Because again, the new generations are even more aware of these realities. People are reading more labelings the labels than ever before. So I try to make them clear that they can choose their own path, but they will have to do it.
And Gabriela, you mentioned also that you worked on certifications like fair trade. Are there too many certifications out there today?
Yes, there are several certifications, and that's what I mean. Every company can choose their own path. What do you want to make emphasis on? The social component, the environmental component. There is a lot of choices at the moment.
And does that choice, do you try to get the client to align that choice with their corporate vision and strategy for social and environment? Is that the trick? Is that the key?
They have to set their own goals. I mean, I as a consultant, I can just accompany them on the way, but they have to choose their own path. They know where their priorities are and what the problems are in the areas where they are also located.
Gotcha. So, Gabriela, if I put you up in front of 50 CEOs of new startup companies, what would you tell them?
I would say make of the sustainability strategy your number one ally from the very beginning. And how do you do that? Framing your decisions in the middle to long term and taking a holistic approach. Remember the 3 dimensions. In other words, make your environmental and social impact look as good as your financial impact. And once you have done that, let the world know about it and motivate all your suppliers on the supply chain to do the same. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble soon. And I'm here to help. Get in touch if you need further guidance.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, there you go. There you have it in episode number 2, Gabriela Centeno from my home country of Ireland. And thank you so much, Gabriela, for spending time with us this morning.
Thank you, John. It was a pleasure.